Hey, I'm gonna make this super quick because I got stuff to do. I kind of want to be looking this way when I talk to you. If you deal with anxiety and stuff, okay, I'm going to ask you for your own sake. Hold on. I'm going to ask you to get more information with whatever you're going through. Make certain that when you're going to the doctor, when you're talking with your friends, when you're learning something, whatever it is that gives you anxiety, mental chatter, don't try to ignore it, but also don't overload it with information, and don't let yourself, okay, I'm going to give you an example. You know how when you go to the doctor and then they give you a whole bunch of stuff they tell you or they don't tell you. They usually give you a little piece of paper with instructions after you have like a procedure or for prescriptions. And usually most people I see, they smile and nod, giggle, laugh, have conversations, whatever. And they're like, yeah, cool, thanks. And they brush it off, especially after you've had any kind of medical work done, like teeth stuff, dental stuff, anything. You kind of get loopy afterwards, right? Like when you're leaving the emergency room or a hospital, you're a little loopy. And if a doctor is explaining something to you at that point, you're kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, I don't remember like the 24 hours after that at all. Point of all this is, I gotta go and do not let your mind play tricks on you when you don't have enough information to actually believe what your mind is telling you. Get more information. If you're, goodness gracious, I mean, the only example I can give you because it's so fresh and I went through it just to teach you guys this kind of, in a way, because I listened to my mind too and I didn't have enough information. And had I had enough information, the thoughts and anxiety would have been soothed way earlier, and sense would have been made with certain situations. So it's kind of like, if I had known this when I left the dentist's office, things would have it would have been a lot easier. Ask more questions. If you're going somewhere to go visit a doctor, anything important, take someone with you. Take notes, take your phone, record if you can, with permission. Um, the main thing to remember, when your mind makes you feel anxious about certain things that you feel fear of, begin to recognize when it's paranoia and when it's an intuition and instinctual knowing. Because if you break the word down, paranoia, it's kind of like seeing something that hasn't happened. So if you're intuitive, you might get a lot of things confusing. If you don't have enough information, it can spiral. If you get panic attacks, you can get lost in that stuff. So no matter what anybody tells you, it won't really matter, right? Unless it's something believable. But deep down inside all of that chaos, there's something in there in you that tells you exactly what's going on. It's in everybody. It knows, it's quiet, it doesn't respond to fear. Find that connection with that version of you. But first, it's the getting more information. These are 2 points of a anxiety scale that I've experienced, okay? And it's all due to a lack of information. And the mind's need to protect the body, the body's need to feel safe, and the inner child's requirement to understand what's going on. Remember that. Don't get lost in any of them. I don't have any tools to give you to do this. You already have what you need, and you have that source connection inside you. This is basically your confirmation. Like, don't don't spiral out of your mind, okay? Don't spiral, don't do any of that stuff whenever your mind is giving you any kind of an anxiety, a panic attack, or anything based on things you think can go wrong, or things that have gone wrong, or things you don't have information on and you think they're wrong or broken or something. You know what I mean? Don't expect people to comprehend it, because to them, looking at people like us who have these episodes, panic attacks, etc., they see us as irrational and bonkers and whatever else, all the labels, right? But to us, internally, it's like, I have to protect the body. What if something's wrong? What if this is wrong? Why does that feel this way? Why does this feel that way? You know, am I supposed to take it at this time? Am I supposed to do this? And there's so many questions the inner child asks through the mind to make certain that you're going to be okay. But you got to remember, and here's a little trick. If your inner child is asking that, if your mind is asking that, you're the parent next to it observing that that child is okay. Remember this absurd video. If you ever have another panic attack or anxiety attack or anything else, I want you to hear these absurd things I've been talking about and remember how these 7 minutes, you've actually been fine. You're okay. And you've begun to recognize that part of you that is so innocently trying to protect you, but it has no idea how to do it. That's where you have to become the observer, the mother, and the father to yourself. Even if it's something so stupid as going back to the dentist and being like, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah. If you need to do that to recognize how the mind lies to you and why it's doing it. Don't hate your mind. Don't hate the anxiety. It's there for a reason. Use those feelings to analyze the thoughts and become more, I don't want to say intelligent, but it's like as if a professor is reading a book, like analyze it, okay, like a scientist. And if you do that too much, flip it to the other side and be the mother or the father. But don't try to run from the anxiety. Don't try to gaslight yourself or any of that stuff. Just, why do you feel that? Because you're worried. At the root of it, you're worried, right? Worried about what? Your well being. Well, if you're sitting there worried about your well being, majority of you is in a state of well being, right? So add that interruption signal to your neural network when stuff like this happens. Because usually, most of all of that stems from a need of connection with people. Because if someone was with you when you went to the doctor, if someone was with you when you had whatever experience, or afterwards, you'd be fine, right? They would have talked to you, or there would have been someone there. Maybe you went through what you went through so that you can be there for yourself and recognize how to do that for you by you. Okay? And remember another thing that people sometimes forget, or at least I have from time to time. Remember what it feels like when you're praying, when you're not praying. Like throw that curveball into your panic attacks and anxiety. Okay? Bye for now.